Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Kerrigan. I'm a composer, producer and also an instructor at Point Blank. Within this tutorial series we'll be looking at Spitfire Audio's new library, London Contemporary Orchestra Strings, and I'll be sharing with you some composition tips which should give you a flavour of what you could learn on one of Point Blank's courses online and in London, LA or Ibiza. You can check out their full range of courses at pointblankmusicschool.com. Today we're going to be looking at the exciting and innovative new string library from Spitfire Audio. We'll be having a listen to some of the sounds themselves and taking a look at the player interface and its many useful features. Like many libraries, it's contact based, but it works with just the standard contact player, and you still have lots and lots of control over the instrument and tone, as we'll see. This library features some really interesting and unique articulations and textures which, as far as I know, have never been available in sample form, which makes this a refreshing change from the generic, run-of-the-mill, Hollywood-style string libraries out there. I've been playing with this for a couple of weeks now, and I found this really quite versatile, but in particular I find it's really good for a couple of types of string arrangement. Kind of soft, beautiful, honest, delicate cinematic work, and the more experimental aleatoric articulations and textures that you often want to draw on when scoring horror and thriller and those types of film. It's worth noting on a technical level these sounds are beautifully recorded and performed and add a real touch of class to your productions sonically. Firstly, it's worth noting that using the mod wheel on your keyboard dramatically improves the kind of realism and dynamic of the longer sounds in particular. No matter how good samples are, you are still playing strings with a keyboard controller, which is inherently unnatural. So the mod wheel really helps give more of a sense of a bowed instrument. Playing the mod wheel moves this dynamics dial here, which of course you can also do using the mouse or automation in your DAW. With a bit of practice you can use that mod wheel as you're playing in the notes themselves to give a real sense of performance. But of course you can play in the notes just as MIDI first and then do a separate MIDI take playing in the mod wheel for the dynamics. If you're doing this, the good start setting is around here, around a quarter on the dynamics dial. So let's have a look at the interface. To load a sound, you choose it from the menu to the left. There's 4 basic instruments based on the different voices, the violins, violas, cello, bass and cello. So I'll choose violas here. And this is the basic interface. And there's also the option of a more advanced interface. If you just click the spanner here, you can have a little bit more control over some things, in particular what loads into memory. So if you're short on memory, you can remove some articulations and mics from loading into memory, and you can see it takes the memory usage down. The basic view though has all the articulations preloaded, which takes up a little bit more memory, but not an excessive amount. It's for each instrument it's about 300 meg. So one of the key parts of the interface is the mic mixer, which features a selection of mic positions and therefore tonal control of each sound. So the default is this one here, MX1, which is your kind of main go-to mix, which is a full mic mix. It's got a nice smooth rounded sound, and like a lot of these sounds, it's very well recorded. MX2 is a kind of treated mix, and it's been processed through some vintage gear which distorts really nicely, so it's got this sort of more edgy sound. So I find it useful for some of the staccato and more experimental sounds. FX1 and 2 are some treated effect sounds, some of which are very cool. And FX2 is really interesting. It reminds me a little bit of the Mellotron. It's got some kind of warping tape style stuff on it. C is your close mic, which is a lovely sort of valve mic sound. It's got this nice definition to it. And R is your room mics, which is useful for giving a 3D sense of space. Blending these different mic sounds gives you even more palette options. For example, I really like mixing FX1 with MX1. Just gives a slightly more sort of real sound. It's of course subjective what works best, and of course dependent on the type of project you're working on. As well as the different microphone positions, the interface gives you control over a number of things, such as the dynamics via your mod wheel, vibrato, release, reverb, expression. If you click the screwdriver here and go into advanced, you can control some other elements such as the round robins of the samples, and some other elements such as if you click here, you can change the type of velocity mapping, and you can change this to suit your particular controller, and you can even change the width of the stereo mic mix.